Right, so thank you. In this presentation, I'll be sharing our quest to measure digital skills in Atkins, a member of the SNC Lavalin group. And it's a quest that's led us towards becoming an early adopter of the CDBB skills and competency framework. I'll be sharing our experiences in defining digital skills and assessing the framework's fit with our workforce. A little about myself. I'm a railway signal engineer by profession. I had spent 28 years in the UK rail business practicing as an engineer before in 2011 crossing to the dark side, i.e. human resources, to head up technical learning and development in Atkins, and I now do that for the whole of the SNC Lavalin group. A large part of my time is devoted to supporting our digital transformation. Like many companies, Atkins is investing heavily in digital transformation, and we all know that skills are a key enabler. So we wanted to find out what digital skills we've got in the company, what digital skills haven't we got, and then we can decide how to bridge the gap, which is okay so far, but what are digital skills and how do we go about measuring them? As we pondered this, we realised that there were many challenges we would need to address. For example, the technical breadth of the company and the huge variance in digital maturity across the regions and market sectors that we serve. And we still didn't really know what we meant by digital skills. But we knew we were trying to grasp something universal and not sector or domain specific. So this is what we decided on as a definition. Digital skills enable the individual to apply new or digital technology in their professional domain. And that left the question about how do we measure them? So we did some research, and I'm sure many of you will recognise some of these frameworks that we found. And then the CDBB Skills and Competence Framework was launched, and we immediately sensed it could be just what we were looking for. Why? Well, apart from being right up to date, it has a simple and straightforward structure and can be adapted and tailored for an organisation. The skill levels are very recognisable: awareness, working, practitioner and expert, and it's in the public domain. But most importantly, it seemed like a good fit because most of what we do in Atkins is in some way related to infrastructure and therefore is within the domain of digital twins. But we needed to test that fit. Our hypothesis was that the CDBB Skills and Competence Framework had sufficient skills to represent the ability of our staff. So we tested it with a survey, interviews and a series of workshops, and the survey was in 3 sections. Section A classified users by their use of technology. So we formed users into one of 4 persona groups. To the left of this spectrum, you can see roles predominantly that are technically focused, and to the right, the roles are digitally focused. In section B, we introduced the 12 skills from the framework to the respondents. And for each one, we asked the participants whether they understood the definition of the skill, whether they need the skill in their role, and whether they use the skill in their role. And for each of these, there were 3 possible answers: not at all, to some extent, and fully. And for purposes of analysis, we scored not at all as 0, to some extent as 1, and fully as 2. And from this, we were able to produce this heat map of our results. We had 41 complete responses to our survey, so each row here is a unique response. And you can see the 6 digital and 6 business skills running across the top of the table. And under each of the skills, there are 3 columns depicting definition, need and use. So that's how the individual scored each one of those. The first column of the table is the classification from section A of the survey, with the technical focus roles towards the top of the table and the digitally focused roles towards the base. And from this, we can see that the technically focused roles tend to score low on digital skills, the purple ones, and in particular data modeling. Conversely, digitally focused personas tend to score higher on the digital skills. So the third part of our survey was to find out whether respondents felt that there were other digital skills that hadn't been recognised within the framework. And there were 30 possible additional skills that people reported in the responses, and we analysed these, many through interview, and we ascertained that 12 were already included in the definitions, which told us that what we needed to do was to enhance the definitions to achieve sort of more universal understanding. 13 weren't actually additional skills, but did identify a training need, and 5 were out of scope, which kind of left no additional skills required. So that was a good place for us to get to. So at this stage, our conclusion was that the survey plus the follow-up interviews and workshops provided good evidence to support our hypothesis. But we realised we would need to bring these indicators to life so that users could relate them to their role, particularly with people at the awareness and working levels. Generally people with low skills don't know what they don't know, so we knew we'd need to help them with examples. And we decided to add a 5th null competency indicator to recognise that not everyone needs to know everything in this area. What next? Well, we're working with a supplier to develop an assessment tool so that we can measure digital skills at scale across the organisation. We've rewritten the skills definitions and competence indicators to omit any reference to the NDT programme, but that was only very minor changes because it's really well written. And we're looking at ways to bring the indicators to life for our employees, for example, through guidance materials, frequently asked questions and so on. And we're developing an initial rough and ready set of learning materials related to each of the digital indicators at the awareness and practitioner levels. Some things we've parked for the moment are moderation and accreditation of the assessments. So our first wave of assessments will be self-assessed only. And we're not going to integrate the skills into role definitions at this stage because it's quite a large task, as you can imagine. So to finish this presentation, I'd like to thank CDBB for bringing together so many SMEs, plus the authors in creating this excellent framework at just the right time. We're very grateful for the opportunity to share our journey with you all, and we'll be very pleased to swap experiences through the Digital Twin Hub and with others on this road. Thank you.